Hi, my name is Byron Martin here at Logee's Greenhouses. Today we're going to be looking at what it's like to get a package from Logee's. So here's a box just arrived in the mail, and the first thing obviously is to make sure that the box hasn't been crushed, because sometimes it happens in the mail. If it is, you need to call us immediately and tell us. First we want to open it up like any other box, and interestingly our shipping staff and picking staff boxed this, and I have no idea what's inside, so I don't even know what I ordered. We want to take the plants out of the box. We wrap them, we roll them in paper, and then we want to unroll them. Now, these plants are rolled up so the leaves are protected. This is a Phalaenopsis orchid. I can set that aside. Here's another plant that came in. I don't know what it is, but we'll see. And this has had a stake put into it to keep the plant from sliding in the box. That actually protects the plant from shifting around. One of the biggest problems with damage in plants, other than the box getting crushed, is the fact that the plants will move in shipment, and then of course there's damage to leaves and stems. But this little plant is a Streptocarpus. This is red alert. It's even got flowers on it. Looks like we have a shipment here that's made for lower light. And then we have this beautiful begonia. This is Begonia Martha Stewart. It's one of our hybrids. And now when you look at this, it actually has been folded in a bit, and there's some crinkling to the leaves. That's absolutely normal. Begonias can be very difficult to ship in that the leaves are brittle, and sometimes you'll get cracks in them. This really can't be helped, particularly with a plant of this size and this many leaves on it. But this plant was packed very carefully by our staff, and you can see again there was something to keep that from sliding around in the box. And our last plant, which is in a fairly large pot here, is a Philodendron, which has arrived again in very good shape. This is Prince of Orange, and you can see the leaves are again folded up. Normally as that plant grows, it's going to expand outward, the leaves will. The next thing we want to do is unwrap them. They have elastic band around them. This is actually on there to keep the soil from falling out of the pot, and then there's some extra packing to make up the difference between it, and there we are. Now this one here has had some damage. You can see there's some leaves that have gotten crinkled or broken, and this is very common with begonias. You can expect a little bit of foliar damage to some of the more tender leaf plants like begonias where the leaf is quite brittle. And this didn't need a lot of packing because there was so much plant in the pot. Now that we've unpacked them, first what we want to do is make sure we check and see that they have enough water, because there are times when plants get into high heat on the travel, and they also, in recent days with COVID and all, they've been delayed through the post office and so on. So you want to make sure that the soil has some moisture in it. These, you can see the soil is moist. You can touch it, it feels moist. You don't have to worry too much about orchids. They're pretty tolerant to whatever they come in. And this actually has moist soil, so we checked that. Now, the plants need to go to some place that they're going to be grown in, and all of these plants here are low light or medium light plants. The hardest thing is when you're taking plants out of a greenhouse where we have a fair amount of shade in here, particularly in the summertime, and then putting them out into a really bright, sunny, hot window. You don't want to do that. Even if they're full sun plants, there needs to be a transition time. So the plants are put into an area for just a few days, just enough so they can kind of relax from the shipment and kind of fill themselves out. And you'll see that they'll actually restructure themselves once they get into that area. And so now we come to our second box. And again, I don't know what they packed in here, so this is actually kind of exciting. It is almost like Christmas. You want to find your pot when you're in there. You want to reach down and try to get a hold of the pot. Now this was a 8-inch pot, I think, that they shipped a plant, and that's one plant per box, and they did a great job stabilizing it. Oh, a Meyer Lemon, look at that. Wow, that's a beauty. This plant was actually boxed yesterday, so it's been in the box overnight, and it's had time to sort of transition into the box. And you can see these leaves are rolled and they're curled inward. That's perfectly normal, particularly soft growth. This is the softer growth of the lemon. This will all relax itself out, and even these stems will move down from being held up tight like that. when I look at this, again, we want to check the moisture level. This is actually a little bit on the dry side. I put my finger in there and I can feel it's dry. So I'm actually going to give this a drink so that it can readjust itself to the environment. And some of that twisting and rolling here may have to do with the fact that the soil is dried out a little bit. And so it does need a drink. And now we go to box 3, and I wonder what they packed today. And so as we open this up, we want to find the pot. It's always at the end of the box somewhere in the packing process. Oh, isn't that nice? Look at that, that's an Adenium. And Adenium shipped pretty well. Here we are, it's in bloom. Interesting, when you get plants that are in flower like this, you can find some damage to the flowers. This actually looks pretty good, but just the fact that a tender flower is sitting wrapped up in a piece of paper and getting jostled around in the shipping process can actually cause some damage to it. But this flower took it pretty well. Our shipping crew, they work very hard to make sure that plants are cared for and packed properly. Also with flowers, you can actually get them where they may even be falling off the plant. So you don't need to worry about that. That's either the normal cycle of blooming or it's due to some of the shipping stress. And then we have a Dionaea, which is a Venus flytrap, and it's contained in this little capsule here. Generally what we do is we take this off. It's been taped on. We take this off and then it can go into an area where you're going to grow your carnivorous plants. And they are bog plants, so they actually want to be sitting in water. There we go. And then this can actually be put in a saucer, a plastic saucer, where you keep water in the bottom where it's always damp. And our last plant is, a Hoya. Isn't that nice? Yeah, and this is pubicalyx, yes. This is actually one of the easiest and most enduring Hoyas. You can see new shoots coming out. We are coming to the end of the growing season, so this is all going to stop in a short order here as the day length shortens. This is the last box, and you can see it got crushed. One of our employees ran over this box, this crushed box, with an SUV. Even a box this damaged, the plant can actually be okay. It depends what's in it, and it also depends upon where the plant was placed, obviously, when it got crushed. And so now we just need to open it up and check and see what we've got in here, that whether the plant is damaged or not. Let me pull this out. And take our stake out. So there's a little fig tree, and the plant itself is okay. It's got some damage to the leaves. They got crunched here a little bit, and the pot itself got pretty badly damaged, but that is really probably of no concern. The fig plant actually has pretty strong root systems that can bend and twist a bit without any harm to the plant. So even though you've got a damaged pot, the plant itself is going to be okay. And again, we check for moisture. The moisture level is good on that. So even though you've got this thing that looks like it got smashed up really bad, there really is no harm in that. You got a couple crinkled leaves here. Figs actually at this time of year are going to go dormant, and so the leaves they have on it are going to fall off anyway. So that plant actually survived the calamity it had on its way. This is a rose, I can see, and there's some flowers in the bottom of the box, so somehow in that process of getting shooken up, the flowers actually got dislodged from the plant. And there we go, that's a nice little rose. It made it okay. And roses, for all of us that grow roses, know they're pretty enduring plants. They got a lot of flexibility in them, and I'm pretty impressed. We have a great shipping department, and our shipping method apparently can survive an SUV rollover. In our next segment, we're going to show you what to do with the plants now that you've got them acclimated to your home.